What's up, guys? This is Brad. So I've got a different type of CGC reveal video today. I don't actually have any new slabs here in my hand, but what I've done is we're going to go through an order that I pressed and cleaned for a friend of mine. In all transparency, I have significantly slowed down in terms of the number of magazines that I am submitting. Not submitting nearly as many. I'm not taking the time to press nearly as many. So what I thought would be cool to do is, there's some really cool magazines that I have pressed and cleaned for some others. I thought, hey, why don't I reach out to them, see if they're okay with me sharing their slabs on my channel, and I can do a reveal video that way. Because in my opinion, the fun with the reveal videos is just seeing new slabs, seeing new magazine covers, seeing the grades, talking some of the stories and the details that go along with them. So even though these slabs I'm about to share with you are not actually physically in my hand, these magazines were. They were in my hands, and I cleaned them, I pressed them, I sent them into CGC through my account, and then had them shipped directly to a customer. And then, here I now have the access to the photos and the grades. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through 6 slabs here, and you can already see the first one. You got this Reggie Jackson Sport Magazine from 1974. It's an 8.0. Pretty cool cover. Reggie Jackson, blood and guts of the Fighting A's. He's got like a pair of binoculars. He's also got a pistol. And yeah, look at that on the right hand side. So if you've never seen this before, this is kind of what like a single certification page looks like for a slab. And this 8.0 is the top pop. Look at that little I don't know, little symbol right there celebrating that there are no copies of this issue in a higher grade as of now. So one thing I do, well, I always do this anyway. I've talked about this before on my channel. I always try to be conservative with my projections because nothing sucks more than getting some slabs back and being disappointed because the grades are lower than what you'd been hoping for. So I always try to be very conscious about being conservative, and usually the grade that I actually project and list on my spreadsheet, it's usually like the bottom end of what I could actually see this magazine coming out as. And so for this one, and so I do that already with my own, but when I'm pressing for a customer, I probably take that even to another level of extreme because I absolutely don't want my customers to be disappointed. So probably what I'd say I do with them is not only do I project the low end of what I expect, but then I probably bump it down even one notch below that too, just because once again, I don't want them to have super high expectations and get really disappointed. So on this Reggie Jackson, I projected a 7.0. Came back an 8. That's wonderful. Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. I mean, obviously, he's a Hall of Famer. He won the MVP award in 1973. He was a 14-time All-Star. He also won 5 World Series titles, and 2 of those he was the World Series MVP. So the Athletics actually won the World Series the year before this cover came out. So once again, this cover's from 74. A's won it in 73, and Reggie Jackson was the World Series MVP. Excuse me, he was the regular season MVP. I don't remember if he was the World Series MVP in that 73 World Series, but he was the regular season MVP the year before. In this year of 74, he made some headlines. He was making a lot of headlines back in this time, in this stage of his career, making comments like I'm the straw that stirs the drink. And people were very kind of polarized about how to feel about Reggie Jackson. You kind of either loved him or you hated him. So in 1974, he won an arbitration case to earn a salary of $135,000, which nearly doubled his salary from the year before. And then later that season, on June 5th, him and outfielder Billy North got into a fight at Detroit's Tiger Stadium. Jackson actually hurt his shoulder, and also catcher Ray Fosse, who was an all-star. He was trying to separate the two, and he got a crushed disc in his neck, which also caused him to be on the disabled list for 3 months. And just a little cool tidbit about Ray Fosse. Ray Fosse probably today is most well known for being the catcher that Pete Rose absolutely plowed over in the All-Star game. Look that up if you're not familiar with it. Pete Rose, I mean, Charlie Hustle, everyone knows how hard he always played. Well, even in the All-Star game, he bulldozed Ray Fosse and injured him pretty bad. And Pete Rose took some flack for that, for it just being an exhibition game. But anyway, Ray Fosse is from Marion, Illinois. That's his hometown, which is 5 minutes away from where I live here in Southern Illinois. So there's a Ray Fosse Park, just not too far from me in Marion, Illinois. So anyway, I digress. I'm digressing from Reggie Jackson, but then this October in 1974, the A's again won the World Series. It was their third in a row. So as you can see, this is the highest graded, and it's only the second copy graded. The only other one is a 6.5. No sales that I could find of this issue. So yeah, pretty cool. New format here with this, with the CGC reveal whenever it's not actually my slabs. But I did work on these. I put a lot of time and effort into these. So it's really rewarding whenever, even though it's not your magazine, it comes out well for someone else. To be honest with you, when I am working on magazines for someone else, I probably stress over them even more. A lot of times I do so many for myself, I'll press it and I'm just like, oh yeah, it's good. Let's go. We're going to send it. But when it's for someone else, I'll kind of labor over it and, really make sure and spend the time to give it all the care that I think it deserves to give it the highest possible grade. Now, I probably should say, just in case you're watching this video and getting any ideas, I am officially retired from pressing and cleaning for customers. So there's not going to be a ton of these videos. I think there's probably going to be, oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how many videos worth I've got. Maybe 10, maybe upwards of 10 videos that I'll put out here revealing some slabs that I have done for others. But I've decided to step away for a couple reasons. Like I said, I'm really not even doing it much anymore for myself. And that's a lot because of time. I just don't have as much free time to devote to it. I've got two young kids, 3 and 5. Try to be a good father, try to be a good husband. I work a full-time job that has a lot of responsibility and takes up a lot of my time. So I just don't do it as often. And after I did a few of these really big orders for some other customers, I decided, even though it's good money, but it's just not worth my time. It takes up too much of my time away from my family that I'm really not wanting to give away. So please don't reach out to me. I actually have had a couple people reach out to me recently asking if I could help them clean and press, and I had to respectfully turn them down because I've decided to step away from that. I'm still occasionally doing some of my own, but at a much slower pace than I used to before. So anyway, let's move on to slab number 2. And oh, you know what? Let me backtrack one more time. Obviously, you saw the Wilt Chamberlain's coming on next, but here is one more cool thing that I don't usually include in my reveal videos, but with this format, I can easily include that, and maybe this will help educate some people about CGC and the grading process. And that's these grader notes. I don't typically have the grader's notes pulled up when I'm doing my reveal videos, and I don't usually talk about them, but they're listed right here because I'm on the cert page for this slab. So you can see these are the flaws that CGC noted, which caused this slab to earn a grade of an 8.0. So creasing to the cover. And the good thing is, a lot of times I'm looking at these and you're hoping not to find issues that could have been like repairable. For example, if I see a bunch of finger bends, usually I'm disappointed in that because I'm like, well, I should have been able to press out the finger bends. There's certain little things that I know that I can repair, but most of these on this one are things that just really aren't repairable, at least not within my skill set. And I've been doing this for a couple of years now. So creasing to cover, I think if you look at this photo, there's no noticeable creasing that you can see on the front or the back, which is a good sign. If there's any creasing that breaks color, you are typically not able to I mean, that's just going to be there. You know, if there's creasing that doesn't break color, you can oftentimes press that out for the most part. Not always, not totally. But if it breaks color, you're really out of luck there. Some fading to cover. Yeah, I think definitely the front cover, that yellow had a little bit of fading just from age. Spine stress lines to the cover. I mean, let's actually, yeah, this is kind of a cool exercise for some of you guys to see. So here you go. That looks like a little spine stress line. Not much. There's one. So that's a spine stress line. This is some good education for some of you folks. Here's a little bit of one that doesn't look like it breaks color. That's maybe one that could possibly be pressed. I don't think so. Hard to tell from the image. That looks like a tiny little spine tick. So that's what they're talking about whenever it says spine stress lines to cover, and then very light tanning to the interior. That's usually going to get you a very, very minor deduction on the interior. So yeah, kind of cool. You can see the pop reports. When there's a white back like this, I typically spend a lot of time working on the back to whiten it up. I'll put it through my light box. I'll use some eraser work. You can't do much with the ink part here with the color, but these white borders and white edges, you can really improve. And yeah, from my before and after photos, I remember this was one I was able to improve pretty well. So anyway, all right, let's move on to the number two. This is that Wilt Chamberlain you saw for a second couple minutes ago, and this is from, let's see, 1972. You got Wilt with the Lakers. It's kind of funny to me, it seems like everyone always thinks of Wilt Chamberlain with the Lakers because that's who he ended his career with, but really most of his dominant records happened not with the Lakers. They were either with the Warriors or the 76ers. He started his career with the Warriors and then played several seasons with the 76ers. Um, I believe he won one title with the Warriors. I know he won one title earlier in his career. Lost a lot of playoff series to the Celtics and Bill Russell, and of course that leads to debate about who was better. I mean, in my opinion, Wilt was definitely the better individual, but the Celtics team was just so much better than those teams Wilt was on. I mean, the Celtics teams were loaded with Hall of Fame guys. You had Cousy and Tommy Heinsohn and um, I can't even think of some of the other guys. Casey Jones, I mean, those teams were loaded. Um, so Wilt had a hard time. Wilt catches some flack now in retrospect in his career because he didn't win nearly as many championships as Bill Russell. And there's something to be said for that. I mean, Bill Russell, he's a champion, 11 rings, but Wilt was dominant, man. I also laugh whenever people say Shaquille O'Neal is the most dominant player in NBA history because I think that's absurd. I think Wilt Chamberlain was 100% the most dominant basketball player in NBA history. That's my own opinion. But anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. He did go on to win another title with the Lakers. I think it was this season, 1972. I think that Lakers team was really, really good. I think they went on a really long winning streak, and obviously Jerry West. That was the one and only title for Jerry West. Jerry West had lost a ton of finals to the Celtics. Gosh, I think he had lost like maybe 8 finals or 7. He lost a bunch of finals and even won NBA MVP in one of those when he was on the losing team. That's how good Jerry West was. But this 1972 team here from this season finally won it for the Lakers. So let's see. I projected a 5 on this. Wow, I projected a 5. Thank you for that 8.5. What an incredible feeling. Like I said, I'm conservative, but even that's a monster jump from what I would have even dreamed of. So Wilt was on 9 covers. 6 of those were during his playing career. This was his third with the Lakers. Let's see. His first one was standing there with his coach. His second one was the pink background where it said "My Life in a Bush League," and then maybe 3, 4, 5, and 6 were all with the Lakers. I love that classic Wilt Chamberlain yellow headband there. It all depends on Wilt. And what's that on the back? Chivas Regal, some blended Scotch whiskey. So we got another top pop. How about that? Another top pop symbol here. Now there is one other 8.5. So this one is let's see here, a pop 2. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Pop 2 with none higher. There have been 7 total graded. And I did find one sale only, and that was a 5.0 that sold this year for $60. But being the highest graded here, 8.5, I would definitely think this one would sell for more than that. Definitely over $100, possibly a couple $100 is my projection. So looking at this one, there was some creasing to the cover. You can, I think, even see some of that right up here. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. There's the creasing to the cover. So that's what I'm talking about. When there's color break like that, that's just not something that's repairable. And those black covers are so tough because any type of crease or chip or whatsoever, and you're just gonna see those flaws really well. So yeah, I mean, I'm surprised I got an 8.5 on this one. There were just some flaws on this that weren't repairable, but we'll absolutely take it. Moderate scuffing to the cover, spine stress lines to the cover. So there you go. But that's a beauty. Displays very, very well. I mean, there are some issues there on the edge, but the core of this magazine is a beauty. That's probably why I got an 8.5 just for the overall eye appeal. All right, moving on to number three. And we're going back to Sport Magazine. And this is 1963. We got two Yankees legends. That is Yogi Berra and Mickey Mantle, of course. It's also fun for me sometimes reading some of these headlines. Will pressure destroy Arnold Palmer? Crisis year for Orlando Cepeda. Rest in peace. He just passed away. Jim Gentile, Veda Pinson, and Frank Howard. Um, the Yogi Berra I Know by Mickey Mantle. So this is pretty cool. Like I said, it's a 1963 Sport. We got the 7.0. I projected a 5.0. Let's see here. So Yogi Berra and Mickey Mantle were teammates from 1951 to 1963. This was the last year for Yogi Berra. And how about this? During that stretch from 51 to 63, they each won three MVPs. That's right. They each won three MVPs and they won seven World Series together. That is a heck of a run from 1951 to 1963 for Yogi Berra and Mickey Mantle. This has been graded five times. It's a pop one with two higher, and the highest is a 9.0. We had a little creasing in the cover, a little soiling on the cover, and a little bit of spine stress. What is soiling, you might ask? I believe that would be, oh, sorry. I believe that would be referring to a little bit of this like browning over here on the edge of the white. There was a little tear there on the back. So I think, like this, I think that could be considered the soiling is my guess. But 7.0, nice looking sport magazine there. Okay, moving on to number 4 out of 6. And we got a nice Bill Russell. This one's very nice. This one is very, very nice. I personally have a strong preference to Sports Illustrated over Sport. Um, just something that I've noticed anecdotally is that Sports Illustrated, we already know this, they're so hard to find as newsstands. The sport magazines, it just seems like there's a much higher proportion of them out there that you can find that are newsstands. You do find there are subscription copies of sport out there, but it almost feels to me, once again, this is totally anecdotal and just off the cuff, but it feels to me like 50% of the sport magazine copies I see are newsstands. Whereas we know from actual data that only like 4% of the Sports Illustrateds are newsstands. So this one's awesome. This Bill Russell, this is from 1969, Boston's Old Guard, The Last Stand. So this was obviously towards the very end of Bill Russell's career. I projected this one at a 5.0. Bill Russell was on 10 covers. Only 4 of those 10 covers were actually during his playing career. So he's been on 6 covers post-retirement. And this is actually the only cover during his playing career that was of him in action. Um, I'm trying to think. His first cover is just a photo there of him. His last cover during his playing career was in a golf cart when he was retiring. And I can't remember what the second one was, but this was his only one that's an actual action shot. So this is a pretty collectible cover for Bill Russell. I know people really like this one. Let's see, there have been 8 newsstand copies of this graded. And this is a pop 2 with only one higher. That one higher copy is an 8.0. So very, very nice one here. I only found one previous sale, and that was a newsstand 5.5 that sold in 2022 for $250. So once again, that tells you that this is definitely a collectible cover, even though it's not his first. So there's a little bit of creasing, fingerprints. So a lot of these old magazines, they'll have, if they had a fingerprint on it from many years and years ago, the oil from those fingerprints will like sink in. Well, they'll like set into the cover so much that it's like permanently ingrained into the cover, and it's not something you can get off. If you have a fingerprint that like you just put on, like if I'm pressing a magazine and I'm gonna, humidify it a little bit first, and if I'm handling the magazine a little bit, sometimes that will put a temporary fingerprint on there, and I can easily clean that off. But if it's one of those old school fingerprints that's been on there for decades, that a lot of times has become permanent, and I'm sure that's what that one was. A little bit of scuffing, a little bit of soiling, a little bit of spine stress. Also says there was a very light water stain on the interior. But yeah, that is a nice Bill Russell in action 7.5. Love that one for sure. All right, two left. Let me know what you think about this format. I know maybe it's not exciting that I don't have it here in my hand, but you guys still get to see all the good stuff. Actually, to be honest, my lighting sucks when I'm holding up slabs. I got all that glare. So you can probably see these even better than whenever I do my normal ones. All right, Walt Frasier, 1969. Clyde Walt Frasier. This is a 7.0. I projected a 5. And this is actually, even though they didn't label it, this is actually Walt Frasier's first Sports Illustrated cover. Now, he was mentioned, he was featured on one other Sports Illustrated cover prior to this, but there were no picture. It's actually a really cool cover. It's like a psychedelic looking cover. It says it's something about Madison Square Garden, and it says Walt Frasier. I think it might have been like Walt Frasier versus Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So, kind of. And sorry, I know this image is going slow on the loading, but I'm talking about his first mention on a cover. Doesn't have a photo, so to me, that does not actually qualify as a first cover. This is the first time that Walt was actually photographed on the cover, but they did not give me the labeling. The labeling, even though I requested it, I requested it on this one, and I've requested it on one other one because I own a 5.0 copy of this. Myself, I am a big Walt Frasier fan because he attended Southern Illinois University, the Salukis, and led them to the NIT championship in 1967. And once again, I am from Southern Illinois. The SIU campus is only about 15 minutes from my house. So yeah, love the Walt Frasier, love the first cover here. Disappointed CGC has now turned me down twice on the labeling. If they consider that Madison Square cover his first cover, I think that's stupid because once again, it literally just has his name on it. There's not even a single photo. Even though it is a cool cover. Let's see here. He's a Hall of Famer, 7-time All-Star, 2-time NBA champ. He's on the All-75 team. Walt Frazier's the man. Does commentating or radio or something for the New York Knicks. Always has fancy suits. Used to be a spokesman for, oh gosh, touch of, no, Just for Men. Yeah, Just for Men. Your beard is weird. That's what Walt Frazier will say in the commercials. 3 copies of this one graded. And this is a pop one with one higher. The higher copy is an 8.5. The lower copy is the 5.0 that, like I said, belongs to me. Did not find any sales on this one. So a little bit of creasing, definitely heavy scuffing. Yeah, no doubt you can see how there was heavy scuffing on the cover. I don't even know if I would call that scuffing. I've always kind of wondered how to label that. This is such a classic flaw that you see in these vintage like 70s magazines, Sports Illustrated, and I don't even know. To me, it's not scuffing. I don't even know how I would describe this. I was about to say I don't know how CGC would describe it. I guess they describe it as scuffing. I don't think it's scuffing. It's more just like it's a combination of color rub and scuffing. I just don't know how to describe it, but I've seen it on so many of these magazines from this same era. And then there were a few spine stress lines as well. So love that cover. The Knicks blitz the NBA. Walt Clyde Frasier, Clyde Walt Frasier. He's the man. All right, last one, number 6 out of 6. Another sport magazine. This is Jim Brown. Jimmy Brown picks his 5 greatest games. Also by Mickey Mantle, the bravest man I've ever known. I wonder who the bravest man he's ever known was. Need to get in there and check out that story. I projected a 5.5, and we got the 7. So yeah, greatly exceeded all my expectations on all these grades. Jim Brown, often considered to be the GOAT running back. Definitely in his time, at least. Since then, maybe you want to put a Barry Sanders or a Walter Payton, maybe even an Adrian Peterson. A couple of those guys could possibly go ahead of him. Um, you know, uh, Barry Sanders' dad was well known for saying that his son, Barry Sanders, was the third best running back he'd ever seen behind himself and Jim Brown. So that's a good one. He was serious. Cover details. Jim Brown was a 3-time MVP, obviously Hall of Famer, 9-time Pro Bowler. And this one has been graded a total of 5 times. As you can see, it is a pop 3 with one graded higher. Could not find any sales. One thing I want to note, we could probably see it pretty well. Of course, we got to load here, so let's go ahead and show you on this one because this one's already loaded. Sport Magazine uses a glued spine with staples on the inside. So you can kind of see like the mark from where the staple is underneath. Now, CGC, I have learned they will not deduct you for that. They understand that that's just a natural part. I think that must be where the staple is. That's just because, yeah, they put 2 staples on the inner cover. There's one. CGC just understands that that's part of the magazine, whereas Sports Illustrated, let's see if I can get one that's already loaded. There we go. Sports Illustrated has 3 staples, but they're all on the actual side. Like there's probably one about right here. There's going to be one somewhere in the middle around here, and then there's another one down low. You can definitely see that it's right there. So Sports Illustrated, fully stapled magazine typically have 3 on the actual spine itself, whereas the sport magazines have glued spines with 2 staples on the inside. So it makes it a little bit different when you're pressing. Just have to have a slightly different approach. It looks like that might be one of the staples hiding under there. And then the other one is, this one's actually not showing much at all. I think that's probably it right there. So yeah, that's just a little bit of info for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with some of the nuances between Sport Magazine and Sports Illustrated. All right, folks, that is it. Let me know what you think about this version of the CGC reveal video. Slab not in hand, but you're still getting a pretty good rundown of all the deets. Probably even a better image of when I'm fighting off the glare here in my office. So if you've not yet done so, please subscribe to this channel. And I really appreciate likes and comments. Love getting some dialogue going. Until the next video, I'll see you guys next time.